It is 2:05 now on Eagle 810. You've got it tuned to me, Marine Staff Sergeant Will Skelton. I had to correct myself there because I almost called myself Sergeant, but no. I was promoted on Friday. So Staff Sergeant, it is, you know me as DJ Devil Dog. It is a beautiful day, and inside the studio with me, I have three very, very important guests, and I am going to try to identify them. Let me make sure everybody's mics are on. I think so. Okay. And what I have here are several very important people to do with DoDEA. I have Miss Marilee Fitzgerald, and I have Miss Diana Ohman, and I have Mr. Clayton Fujie. Is that correct? Fujie. Almost. So, you guys are here to give us a lot of information about the DoDEA schools and everything. I think pretty much our entire listening audience is very aware of everything that has been going on in the aftermath of the earthquake and tsunami. But Ms. Fitzgerald, what is DoDEA doing to help parents and students affected by these disasters?
Well, I'm happy to talk to you a little bit about that, and I want to first thank you for this opportunity to reach your audience. And secondly, to congratulate you.
Well, thank
wonderful. You. I'll make sure that I don't add to your $10 little bin you have going here. And then I call you.
Oh, it's not money. It's push-ups.
My God. And Staff Sergeant, let's put the sign up here for you. No, actually, the DoDEA schools have remained open for throughout this crisis. There have been days where schools were closed. There were power outages and so on. Schools couldn't stand up. But for the most part, the message has been school is open. And we have said at DoDEA, and really live by this, that our military families make incalculable sacrifices on behalf of this nation each and every day. And the one thing that we did not want them to feel that they had to sacrifice was the education of their children. And certainly in this crisis, our teachers and school administrators lived by that creed. And when schools opened, when children were here, schools opened, and we did what we know how to do, which is educate children. And for those parents who returned under the authorized departure, we reached out to them and are continuing to do so. But among the early steps that we took, we notified all of the local education agencies and made them aware that these families were coming home. And we asked them to put their rules aside. We know about their residency requirements. We know about their entrance requirements. And we said, put those aside. Our children are coming home. And important message that we want to get to parents is enroll your children back in school. And so to the extent that they could receive these children and continue to provide a seamless and smooth educational experience for them, that's what we wanted to do. We continue to work that. We have some marvelous examples of our superintendents in the United States who have reached out to our families. Secondly, we have opened up our domestic schools to children. So those who have co-located near a DoD-dependent schools in the United States, we have opened the enrollment so they can become visiting students. We have about 70 students in our schools in the United States. We have also opened our virtual high school, so for those students who are high school age, who can continue their education through the virtual environment, we're doing so. And then, as you can expect, our teachers are working on individual learning plans with all of our families. We have children who move to remote areas, some of whom are not here in the United States. And our teachers, as you might expect, and so proud of them, they continue to work with the children on an individual basis to ensure that their education is not disrupted. And then I would say, finally, that in addition to providing a support in our office, we've started an outreach program for our parents. And it is our goal to reach all of our parents to ensure that they don't need help, or if they do need help, make ourselves available to help them. So we're casting our arms around all of them so that they do not feel at all that, one, that we're not there to help them, and number two, that their children's education continues to remain of paramount importance to us. And whether they are right here in our schools or in some location in the United States or other alternate safe alternative destination, they can feel the arm of DoDEA and its assistance and its quality education.
Now, why is it important for parents to enroll their children in these safe haven locations?
Children have to learn. I mean, despite this crisis, children have to continue their learning, and any disruption in learning is problematic. We know what the summer does to children, and we create these long breaks. So it's important that they continue their education. It's also important that through this crisis they return to some sense of normalcy. I was just in classrooms today, and there is a sadness in these classrooms. These children miss their friends. And for those who have gone back to the United States who are facing yet another transition, for many they're moving back to locations where family members are. They have no personal attachment to these school districts, so they're once again the new kid on the block. And so the school environment can help mitigate some of the stress that's in their lives. Schools are equipped with counselors, and they know how to deal with these issues. And so we say to our parents, focus on school. Try not to be distracted by the events around them, and let schools do what they do best, which is educate your children. A seamless educational program is what we are advocating for our parents.
I might add, Staff Sergeant, the fact that kids who are in high school, our high school students, really, their world revolves around Carnegie units, and it's really important that those students stick to their guns and stick to their classes and be sure that they enroll wherever they are in those same classes. If they can't get those classes in that school, then we'll find a way to help them through continuous education with the classes here or through our virtual school. But for those young people, it is of paramount interest that they continue learning, continue to work toward those credits, because it's not easy when you're in a makeup mode or something has to be redone because it wasn't finished and you're in high school. That's not an easy thing. So we really do encourage the youngsters to continue right with their classes in high school, continue to earn those credits.
Right. Now, Mr. Fujie, how are DoDEA Pacific teachers helping students that are in transition and those that are settling in the safe haven?
Well, first of all, it's a concerted effort with the administrators, their education technologists, and the teachers, because in order to get this done, they have to either use some of the online resources. They have school intranets, they Gaggle, GradeSpeed, and of course a lot of times they use Facebook just to communicate with each other. But on the whole, we're trying to get the records to the new schools, and I know teachers are also customizing their lessons so that it will meet the needs of each individual child that's out there. And we've heard that some children they've enrolled or parents have mentioned that they've enrolled their child in a school, but they're still doing work from our schools. Because
it's almost like it's a dual enrollment.
Dual enrollment, because there's the hope that they'll be coming back and they'll be continuing where they left off. So it's a tough. We've heard many instances where parents had to make tough decisions, and sometimes they wondered if they made the right decisions. But, like in a given time, at that particular moment with the information they had, they made the right choice to whatever choice they did, whether moving their families or keeping them here. And for us, for those that are still here, we have a mission that's to educate all the children that's here. So we will continue that, and we want to thank our administrators and also teachers for the job that they do, because they've had to either combine classes or work with other students that have been in smaller classes. So it's been a change for a lot of people, but we're still committed to educating all the kids that are here in our schools.
Right.
And it's amazing, too, today when we walk through schools to see the resilience in children and the way in which they embrace one another. I mean, our military children come with assets, very finely honed skills in human relations skills, and they're very welcoming. And even small children who of the second grade class and now are a part of a second grade class, or maybe they're joining a third grade class, to see how warmly and easily they embrace one another and how our teachers do that. We talked today with a kindergarten teacher who is now teaching second grade. And she gave a class assignment, and she had her second graders visit her empty kindergarten class, and then they wrote about the differences. She did a compare and contrast writing assignment as a result of it. So wonderful things are happening, but it is a testament.
Not only in one school alone, but among high schools. We have very, very small numbers at Zama, very, very small numbers at Kinnick. And last weekend, Mr. Fujie helped his ADs, his athletic directors, and high school principals organize a sports day, where they managed to get in a game of soccer, a game of baseball, a game of softball, even a bit of a track meet, so that everybody could get back to how it really is.
Right.
And then we just talked to a couple of young ladies at the high school this morning about, are they going to have prom? Oh, yes, they intend to go right ahead with prom. And then I thought, how can you have prom at Zama or at Kinnick when they're so small? Maybe all three schools could have prom together.
Just have one big Kanto prom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Well, it's important because some of their dates went home.
Yes.
That's right.
And maybe everybody can just come and be part of a group instead of worrying about all of the details that we might if it were a different situation, and make the best of it for everyone.
That's right.
So we're going to take that and have a discussion about whether that might work or not. So yes, everybody is adjusting, everybody is concerned, everybody's cooperating and engaged. It is just, even though sad that many of our youngsters are gone, uplifting to see everybody working together, doing the best they can.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick music break right now. We're going to check out some Alicia Keys, but I will be back with these three guests, and we've got a lot more to talk about, so definitely keep it locked here on Eagle 810 and me, DJ Devil Dog. It is 21 minutes after 2 now on Eagle 810. You've got it tuned to me, DJ Devil Dog here. 56 degrees outside the studio here in Yokota. Still with me in the studio, I have my special guests from DoDEA, and we are talking about a lot of interesting things where they are the different services that have been provided to keep the kids on their educational track, whether it be DoDEA helping out get them into a school that they're a safe haven location, or how things have kind of morphed here back home, and classes have merged and made things happen, and we even talked about the prom a little. So, what other educational opportunities? I know you mentioned a little earlier about, I did not know that internet classes were available for high school students. Now, what other educational options are out there for students?
Well, for the high school students, DoDEA launched this year a virtual high school. And we have right now about 44 courses that we're offering. However, as a result of this situation, we're offering courses on demand, so we can ensure that our children who would not normally be taking courses through the virtual school have the opportunity to take these courses in the virtual learning environment. The school is fully accredited, as it might be any other school, high school in our school system, and it is diploma granting. So for those who have to use it exclusively, for example, where we might not have any DoD schools, or for children who are sick and need to be away for a while, we can give a diploma from the high school. It's a great program. Kids like it. They enjoy learning in a virtual environment, and it's synchronous and asynchronous. Mm-hmm. And we were talking today about trying to use our domestic schools as a spot for continuing the honors program for children here who left the Yokota High School, who were enrolled in an honors program. The virtual high school may not have the honors course that they need, but we have it in our domestic schools, and so we would hook them up through our hub in the United States so they can have access to the continuation of the honors course here.
Gotcha. So. Okay. Now, now that we better understand, what it means for the families that left these voluntary departures. So, what about the families and DoD personnel that are still here in Japan? Ms. Ohman, why are DoDEA schools open right now?
Our mission is one thing and one thing only. If we have military children and we have teachers and we have a school building, we are going to have school. So the reason we have schools open is because we do have schools. They are declared essential, and they are. They're essential folks in our system. They are essential to communities. And they are here, and we have children here. So our doors are wide open, and we are continuing with this year's education and moving toward a really good ending. This is the end of the third quarter right now, as a matter of fact, this week. And so we're going to move into that fourth quarter all guns blazing, because it's real important that every child that's here receives an appropriate education. So that's what we're about. That's why the doors are open, and we're moving on.
Right. And, we've talked a little bit about, what we've done to adjust. There's the virtual school's been offered. The classes have some have merged and different things. But looking at the employees, so teachers and staff are stepping up to make sure that the school continues. Now, Ms. Fitzgerald, some teachers have expressed concern about not being able to be included in the voluntary authorized departure. So how is eligibility determined, and why are teachers considered essential personnel?
Well, the State Department actually established who would leave the area and who wouldn't. And so, as you know from the guidance, the State Department and the Department of Defense subsequently issued guidance that allowed eligible family members who wished to leave the area to do so voluntarily. You remember, it is not an ordered departure, it is an authorized departure, which means it's voluntary. So eligible family members were the only ones, and to this day are the only ones who were included in the universe of individuals who were given the opportunity to leave. Now, that said, there are teachers here who are either single parents or who are married couples who would like to escort their children and their family members back home and ensure their transition back to their alternate destinations. And the Department of Defense has provisions in its rules to allow for that. So our teachers are escorting their family members back, but then they spend up to 10 to 14 days at their safe haven, and then they must return back to work. Because, again, they are not authorized departure. They're part of the essential cadre. There is no other government entity here, be it the State Department, Department of Defense, the DoDEA school system, where the employees are authorized departure. And again, it's as Diana said, the mission is still here. So as long as we have children in school, we saw today, these children are eager to learn, and they want to be there.
Right.
And they love their teachers, and they say that among the, I asked them, so what's the best part about being here in school? Rolling right off of, next to lunch, I have to tell you, the teachers are their top choice.
And recess.
And recess, yeah, and that falls in there too. But so they are important in these children's lives. They look forward to coming, and so as long as the mission is here, we're here to serve that mission. And the teachers understand that. I haven't met any on this journey, and I've talked to many back in Washington who called. Certainly their safety is of importance to us. And so the message to all of our teachers, our school administrators, and our other staff is very clear. Listen to the guidance that's coming out. Safety is important. And if for one moment we thought that their safety was compromised, you can be sure that the State Department, the Department of Defense, and our military would be doing something much more encompassing. But as long as it's an authorized departure, and we have a mission to perform, we're going to be there. Right. And proud to serve and honored to serve that mission. That's what you'll hear when you walk into our schools. Our teachers and staff tell us they are honored to serve that mission.
So speaking of safety, Ms. Ohman, what are you doing to ensure the safety of the employees here in the Kanto Plain and up in Misawa?
It is paramount that we listen well to the information we receive from our military leaders. And I can assure you they are monitoring daily, if not hourly, the radiation in the air, radiation in water, the sources of the food that we purchase here in the commissaries or in any of the places where we eat on base. They give us the latest information, and if there's any slight deviation, we know it right away. And I don't employ people who can monitor such things, and I am thankful that they are so willing to share their information with us because we can deliver it to our schools, to our teachers, to everybody that's in our realm of contact. So we not only listen, but we monitor specifically for those things and wait to enact whatever guidance we're given. And that's the way we need to behave through a crisis, is be ready to enact the things that our military leaders dictate are to happen.
Roger. Mm-hmm. Now, Ms. Fitzgerald, what happens to DoDEA Pacific employees' jobs if they participate in the voluntary authorized departure?
If they were an eligible family member who was teaching in our schools at the time of the crisis, we grant them leave or leave without pay, and their jobs are preserved. Now, they're not on full pay when they return. They're unlike an employee who was hired from the United States who was also eligible at that point for continuation or their full pay. These family members are on leave or leave without pay, but their jobs are secure. So when they come back, those jobs will be there. And in Washington, we've established a temporary employment program for eligible family members. Staff Sergeant Skelton, for some of these families, the allowances that they get on the safe haven are just inadequate to compensate for the loss of salaries. And so what we have done is to try and match them with vacancies that we have in our schools in the United States.
Oh, wow.
So, listen, we need substitute teachers, we need math teachers, we need special education teachers. Teachers' aides. And so those who wish to take assignment register. They do that online, and then we make the match. And we've placed one school nurse so far, and we are anxious to do more. And hopefully they can, if they so choose, and we have the opportunity to continue their employment, we'll do so. And that's at any one of our domestic school locations.
All right. 2:33 now on Eagle 810. You're listening to me, DJ Devil Dog, still 56 degrees outside the studio. And also still with me are my three special guests from DoDEA. And I know that one thing that is a major concern for a lot of people is sports. I mean, it might sound a little trivial to hear it said out loud, but it's sports and activities are very important. And what is the situation with sporting events?
Well, first of all, as you know, when the earthquake happened, we did have some students that were, you might say, stuck somewhere about out in Saitama. And because of that, and also the buses got, because of the electricity being out, and they were sort of stopped on the freeway for a period of time. We waited to see what the situation would be in about a week, and then reevaluated. And as things settled down, we started making plans, and our people started working with the athletic directors and also our officials to see whether or not we could start up a half of the remaining of the season, because you want to bring normalcy back, and this is part of the whole picture, having athletics, but at the same time also the other activities such as drama, band, and all the other things that go along with the high school and the schools. So at this time we're looking at for schools that are on residential areas, they can have their activities without buses because most of the kids live there, the after-school activities for elementary school. And we're going to start looking at the high schools where we have to have activity buses. And our athletic directors met last week to come up with a plan for athletics and how we're going to get that. We waited to see, because Edgren up in Misawa, we know that because some of the kids were derailed on a train, and going through a 20-hour bus trip may not be the best. We looked at whether we'd be flying them to different activities. So that we're already having plans. It's just a matter of when we're going to start it. So We're ready to move. But at the same time, you have to know that after talking to some of the students this morning, some of our schools, some of the teachers or community people that were coaches have left, so we're short coaches or we're short members of teams. So we're looking how we can best fill those needs. So we're working on it, and we'll be moving in a very, very shortly. And I'm sure Dave Arnauer, my friend, he's eager to find out.
Yeah, Dave is.
And he tracked our kids when our kids were here stuck from Misawa, and he had a different piece on athletics and how these kids were so resilient and during the times that they were stuck away from their families. And I think he did. Well, I know he got a great story from that piece on how our student athletes, handle the situation, and our coaches and chaperones. So once we got them back, then we're looking at what are the next steps to restart the program again. So we're just about ready to do that.
Roger. Now, Ms. Fitzgerald, I know you were mentioning off the air that you had a few thank yous you wanted to throw out there.
Thank you. I do. First and foremost, I'd like to say that from all of us in the Washington area, and from the Secretary of Defense and all the leaders in Washington to our team here, that we still have the thoughts and prayers are with our Japanese comrades in this very tragic time. The earthquake has just created, and the tsunami, and then the issues with the power plants have just created such a disruption to the normal way of life. And emerging through all of this have been great stories of heroism and courage and bravery. And as we stood alongside them, we were able to reach out and extend our hand, our military members, a huge thank you to them and to parents who also helped and provided humanitarian assistance and aid relief. They have a great, we have a great deal of gratitude to them as well. And to our teachers and our students and our school leaders who, through their own fears, came through and found the mission to be the important thread that kept things together during this crisis. And so we extend a heartfelt appreciation to them. And then to my two colleagues here for sure, Diana and Clayton, who were brilliant leaders in the face of this crisis. And you know that. I mean, they're marvelous stories of leadership and courage and work that needs to be done. But it is times like this that you look to your leaders. And they had in Diana and Clayton two wonderful leaders who provided relentless information and tried to sort through, in the most difficult times, the varying differences of information. And we still live with that today. It is still a challenge trying to sort through and getting our teachers and our parents and everyone the right information. So it is a collective and heartfelt thank you that we extend to all of them for everything that they have done. And as we move through this crisis, we keep in mind the challenges of restoring a country. But what the tsunami and the nuclear reactor incidents and the earthquake couldn't do was to dull a spirit and a sense of commitment and an appreciation of life. And having spent just a few hours here on the ground, there's no doubt that this country will be restored back to a very vibrant and wonderful economy. And when it does, it will have its partners here alongside of them to continue. So it's been a privilege and an honor, really, to be here and to witness the marvelous help and assistance that everyone has been providing.
Right.
Thank you, Eagle 810, for getting our message out. We just really do appreciate you. We love to listen to you guys.
Oh, well, it is our pleasure. And, we wanted to take this opportunity, too, to let people know that at 4 p.m. tonight, over at Yakota's High School Lecture Hall, it's going to be kind of a town hall. And there's also going to be one tomorrow in Yokosuka and then following on Wednesday down in Zama. We'll put all those times and places up on our Facebook page, and they can also go check out the DoDEA Facebook page because you guys are updating constantly like we are, trying to push all that information out there. Thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you, and thank you for all you do.
It's not this morning anymore.
No, not. Oh, it is, I think, though. In Washington, it is.
For you.
For me, it is.
We just synced up. That's all it was. Thanks so much for coming in.
Well, thank you, and thanks for all you do.
Oh, yeah.